Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about DAHOMEY. This was a film directed by Diop. This is Diop's first kind of feature-length foray into documentary filmmaking. I learned actually after watching this film that Diop is the niece of Jibril Mambebti Diop, who in the 70s made a film called Tukibuki, which I adore. He was one of those filmmakers that kind of was bringing the sort of like he definitely brought like influences, like postmodern influences from like the French New Wave, but he was making it all his own, and it's a very important film in like African films, and I love it. It's a great sort of like kind of surrealist like Bonnie and Clyde story, and it's great. It's just great. So naturally I was interested to see this film, and also like the premise of it was really striking to me as well. It kind of follows the return of these 26 art pieces that were taken by French colonists in Benin, and after hundreds and hundreds of years finally returned to their rightful place of origin. And it's kind of an interesting thing because we kind of see the journey of these art pieces, and then we kind of start asking a lot of questions about colonialism and like the meaning of art and like its context. And I think a lot of the things that it's talking about, like why are these pieces being returned, not like sort of a moral question, but sort of like a why are they doing this now? Is it like, are they doing this for political gain? And also like if we're making like a museum out of these pieces, what does that mean, and sort of in terms of like the context of the way that the art was meant to be utilized, because there's sort of debate around like whether museums are even a valid place for art like this to exist. There's debate about like we use this art in religious ceremony, and having it in a museum like this Western institution is denigrating to the art's purpose. And I think that these questions are very interesting, especially because like I'm an artist, and I find myself thinking all the time about the sort of elitism and sometimes classism that kind of comes with art, and sort of the presentation of art and the exhibition of art. And I don't know. I find myself very privileged to be able to experience art the way that I'm able to. I believe that people should be able to receive art and interpret it the way that their life experience kind of informs that. But then again, there is sort of a point to be made about, art as ritual rather than art as speculation, art as exhibition. And it's asking a lot of really tough questions about like the effects of colonialism on art, and the way we perceive art, and the way we discuss art, and the way we even look at art. But while I think that this film asks a lot of really interesting questions, I don't know about the filmmaking style of this. This film is sort of divided into two parts. One part is where they're bringing the art back to Benin, and it kind of documents the travel of that. And then the second part is sort of these political debates among university students about all of this art, and asking these questions directly in the text. In the first half of the film, there's a sort of narrative gimmick where the pieces of art have a sort of consciousness that we hear. We're hearing kind of the thought processes of this art as it's returning to Benin, as if like it's kind of like their journey, and we're kind of in the mind of this art, which it's an interesting concept. I just think it falls flat on its execution, and maybe it's not trying to go for like an aesthetic execution, and maybe that's a failure on my part, but it did kind of leave me a little like, I don't know. And then, I do appreciate that they're showing a lot of this like direct confrontation between the university students, and there's a lot to think about when you leave the theater. It's just, if you're gonna make like sort of like a film essay, kind of very slow, very meditative film essay like this, I just feel like it's maybe not in your best interest to have all of your themes right there in the text. But then again, maybe it's not even trying to do that. I think maybe it's just trying to ask us questions, and I can appreciate it for that. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. I don't have too much to say just because I don't have a lot to go off of in terms of the filmmaker herself. But, maybe I'll check out some of her narrative works and see what I think. But I'm going to leave it there. Okay, bye-bye.